Everybody knows that flatbed loads pay a lot of money. So if you want to make a lot of money in trucking, just get a flatbed trailer and you'll be rich. So today, I will show you how much flatbed loads really pay, and you'll be surprised. All right, national van rates. As we can see, according to the trend lines, Midwest and Southeast, you should be getting on average $2.10 round trip. But in my last video, we actually saw that the loads do not pay that much. So now let's switch to the flatbed. So as we can see, the loads for a flatbed in the Midwest, South, and Southeast should be paying about $2.60 on average round trip. So if I'm in Chicago and I'm sending a truck to, let's say, Atlanta, I should be able to send it out for about $3 a mile and come back for about $2.10. So let's see if that's even realistic. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you one little map of the flatbed demand and capacity. And we can clearly see that there is not a lot of demand for flatbed anywhere north or west. The only states where you should really keep your flatbed truck would be anywhere between Texas and South Carolina, Virginia. That's about it. Everything else is dry as hell. So let's jump on the load board and check out loads out of Chicago. And again, we're going to try to send our truck to Atlanta. And I want everything around 75 miles from Chicago, going to 75 miles around Atlanta. We're going to use a flatbed. And we're going to look for full loads. Most of the flatbed trailers are 48 feet. So if you are ever thinking about getting into the flatbed business, 53-footer gives you a big advantage. We're going to look for Thursday. And let's search all the loads. Look, there is nothing coming out of Chicago going to Atlanta. We would have to send our truck to Waukesha, Wisconsin. This is the closest flatbed load in the Chicago area, and it pays $2.37 a mile. So with a 100-mile deadhead, we're looking at about $2.20 a mile. This is not a great rate. We're still nowhere near the $2.60 a mile mark. So now we would have to come back for really good money to hit that $2.60. So now let's do the reverse situation and see if there's anything out of Atlanta to bring us back to Chicago. Look, check this out. We have only 3 loads out of Georgia, out of Atlanta, coming to Chicago, and they're paying $1.90, $1,300. So this really sucks, because if you are investing in a flatbed trailer, you have to buy tarps, chains, straps, coil racks, pipe stakes, edge protectors, dunnage, all that stuff. And it's a lot of work. You have to go get it loaded. You have to tarp it. You have to strap it. You have to stop and check the load. And look, they're paying $1,300 from Georgia to Chicago. So if we are going out for $2 a mile, coming back for $1.90, that is no good. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to see how much a van load will pay from Atlanta, coming back to Chicago. Van 53 up to 45,000 pounds. Look, $1.91. Georgia to Hammond, Indiana. $1.82. Van and flatbed. Pays the same. How crazy is that? So what's the reason that van loads and flatbed loads pay exactly the same? Well, here's the situation. During COVID, a lot of people jumped into the trucking business thinking they will become millionaires overnight. We created so much capacity that there is not enough loads for everybody. So people who had van trailers, they were trying to be creative and do something to make a little more money. So they thought that flatbed will be a great idea because it's really easy to switch from van to flatbed. Flatbed doesn't really have any maintenance like a reefer. It's like a van with no walls. So I see a lot of companies and owner-operators switching from van loads to flatbed, and that's creating overcapacity in the flatbed market. Now, another big factor is that interest rates are staying very, very high. So people are not buying any new houses, people are not remodeling any houses, and people are not building any new houses. And flatbed business is mostly construction stuff, heavy equipment, lumber, steel, anything like that. So if people are not remodeling and building houses, there is no demand for all the other products. So flatbed business right now is definitely down, and you have to be really, really smart about where you go and what you haul. But if you, for example, live in Chicago and you think you're just going to get a load from Chicago, going somewhere and come back, you're not going to make a ton of money. So now let's see if there's any good paying loads going anywhere out of Chicago. So what we're going to do, we're going to remove our destination and we're going to do search. And now I'm going to click on the rate and sort it by the highest rate. So we'll see what pays the most. Look, so Chicago to California will pay you $2.15 a mile. Washington, $2.11. 210. Idaho, $2.52. I think this is the, no, there we go, Montana, $2.69 a mile. This is so far the best paying load, 3,800 bucks and 1,400 miles. Great Falls, Montana. So now let's just see if we can even come back from Great Falls, Montana. So there is nothing out of Great Falls. Everything is just local moves, 300 miles. Let's try 300 miles around Great Falls, Montana, if anything pops up. All right, look, so we have 275-mile deadhead going to Strasburg, Virginia, paying $1.63 a mile. So your effective rate is what, $1.40? So we went for $2.90. We're coming back for $1.40. What is it? Average $2 a mile. So let me know if you have a flatbed and what is your average rate, because I'm really curious. If you are hauling flatbed, do you get good paying loads right now, and what do you do? Because looking at the load board, there's really nothing to choose from, and the rates really, really suck.